It took me a while to process what had just happened. My mind was racing, my heart was pounding, and my entire world felt like it was spinning. I couldn't understand it. How could she do this to us? How could my own sister-in-law turn our lives upside down like this? We've always been there for her, supported her, and yet here I was, standing in my own house, furious and confused. I tried to keep calm, but my frustration was bubbling over. My sister-in-law was standing there, almost nonchalant, as if what she was saying didn't matter. "Well, if it bothers you so much, you can still come to the wedding," she said with a fake little smile. "Just make up some excuse for your wife. You know, tell her you've got a work emergency or something." I couldn't believe it. The audacity! I felt my blood boiling. "What do you mean make up an excuse?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "What kind of person even thinks like that?" She laughed. Laughed. In my face, as if she didn't just drop a bombshell. I stood there, in complete disbelief. "Oh, you won't believe it," she said with a smirk. "I told them that my parents are avoiding you because, well, you're just toxic. You're toxic for this family." I couldn't process it. What was she talking about? I felt like I'd been slapped across the face. How could she say that? After everything we'd done for her? I felt my vision blur with anger, and I could feel my hands trembling as I tried to keep it together. "Are you serious right now?" I said, barely able to hold back tears. "You seriously told people that? In our house?" My voice shook with fury, but she just shrugged, as if I was making a big deal out of nothing. "Yeah, I thought it'd be easier this way. They just don't want to be around you. They don't get the whole vibe. You know how it is." That's when I snapped. How could she do this? How could she throw us under the bus like this, in front of everyone? My own family, my parents, were being dragged through the mud because of her lies. This was the last straw. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned on my heel and walked out of the room, slamming the door behind me so hard that the walls shook. I heard her shout something, but I didn't care. I couldn't deal with her right now. I just needed space to breathe, to process what was happening. When I walked into the living room, my husband was sitting there, looking at me with concern. "What happened? Why are you so upset?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but all I could think about was how hurt I felt. "She said my family is toxic. She told everyone that we're the problem. And now she's trying to push me away, like it's no big deal." I could see the shock on his face as he tried to piece together what I was saying. He stood up, his face hardening. "Are you serious? She did that?" He walked over and took my hands in his, as if grounding me in the storm of emotions swirling around me. "Okay. Calm down. We'll figure this out. But we need to talk about it, together." I nodded, still trembling. But I couldn't shake the feeling that things were only going to get worse. She had already crossed a line, and there was no going back now. What else was she hiding? How far was she willing to go to make our lives miserable? I knew I had to talk to someone. I needed to get this off my chest before I lost it. So, I did what I always do in moments of crisis. I grabbed my phone and started typing. I vented in the group chat, not knowing if it would make me feel better or if it would just make things worse. But as I typed, something shifted. I started to feel a little lighter. Maybe it was the support of the group, maybe it was just knowing I wasn't alone in this mess. But one thing was for sure, I wasn't going to let her walk all over me anymore. The more I thought about it, the more my anger turned into something else. It wasn't just about the wedding, or about what she had said, it was about the lies, the manipulation, and the disrespect. She thought she could control everything. She thought she could break us down. But she didn't know me. She didn't know who she was messing with. I was pacing the room, heart racing, my mind in overdrive, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Every thought felt jumbled, like a million thoughts colliding in my head, and I couldn't seem to focus on any one thing. How could someone who was practically family, someone I had trusted, turn on me like that. My phone was still clutched tightly in my hand as I stared at the messages in the group chat. I had just let it all out, venting about how she had humiliated me, how my own sister-in-law had turned my life upside down for no reason. She had made it seem like I was the problem, and the worst part? She had the nerve to make it sound like my family was some kind of burden to hers. I couldn't just sit there and take it. No! I wasn't about to let this slide. I didn't care if it was a family matter. This wasn't something that could just be ignored. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my best friend, Sarah. I eagerly opened it, hoping for some comforting words, but as soon as I saw her reply, I felt the blood drain from my face. "You can't be serious? She said that to you? What is wrong with her?" I stared at the text in disbelief. Couldn't she see how out of line she was? Was everyone in this situation just blind to her manipulative ways? I typed back quickly, my fingers moving faster than my thoughts. "I don't know what to do anymore. She's practically destroying our family. How do I even deal with someone like her?" As the words left my phone, I felt a wave of frustration wash over me. It wasn't just her, I was furious at myself, too. How had I let things go this far? How had I allowed someone to push me so far over the edge without standing up for myself sooner? It felt like I had been living in a fog, and now, the fog was finally lifting, and I could see the betrayal for what it really was. The tears were starting to sting my eyes again, but I wasn't about to break down. Not yet. Not now. I needed to pull myself together. I wiped my eyes quickly, grabbed my jacket, and stormed out of the house. I had to get some fresh air. I needed to think, and I couldn't do that with all the noise and chaos swirling in my head. I started walking down the street, every step fueled by anger and hurt, and yet, something inside me felt oddly calm. I had to figure out a way to face this head-on. But how? The phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call from my husband. I hesitated for a moment, but I couldn't avoid this conversation any longer. "Hey," I said, trying to sound composed, but my voice wavered. "Hey, what's going on? What happened?" His voice was full of concern, but it only made my heart ache more. Why was this happening? Why was he getting involved in this mess? I took a deep breath. I can't believe she said that to me. About my family. About us. This is insane. My voice cracked at the last part. I could feel my emotions bubbling up, ready to spill over, but I forced myself to hold it in, not wanting to burden him any more than I already had. "Listen to me, okay? We'll fix this. We'll talk to her, we'll figure it out. But don't let her get to you. We have each other, that's all that matters," he said, trying to calm me down. But how could I be calm? How could I just let this go? I wasn't someone who could ignore things like this. I wasn't built for that kind of quiet submission. I wanted to scream. How are we supposed to fix this? How do we go back from this? She's already made up her mind about everything, and it's like she's trying to tear us apart. I felt the hot tears finally slipping down my cheeks, but I wiped them away quickly, trying to get myself together. "You're right," he said quietly. "She's pushing us. She wants to create chaos. But we're stronger than that. We don't have to let her control everything." For a moment, I felt some of the anger slip away, replaced by something else, something like determination. He was right. I couldn't let her control me. I couldn't let her tear apart what we had, just because of her jealousy, her need for control. She didn't get to win. She didn't get to break me. I took another deep breath. "Okay," I said, wiping away the last of my tears. "We'll fix this. We'll stand together, and we won't let her win." I felt the shift inside of me. It was like the anger turned into something more focused, something that wasn't going to burn me out but rather push me forward. It wasn't about the wedding anymore, it was about standing up for myself, for my family. It was about showing her that I wouldn't back down. As I walked down the street, the reality of what I was about to face hit me harder than anything before. I knew it wouldn't be easy. I knew it would take more than words to resolve this, but at that moment, I knew one thing for sure: I wasn't going to let her win. Not now, not Eve. The day after our conversation, I felt a storm of emotions swirling inside me. I couldn't believe how quickly everything had escalated. The tension was thick, and every time I glanced at my phone, I felt like it was burning a hole in my hand. What was I supposed to do now? Was there even a way to fix this, or was everything just done? I decided to take a walk to clear my head, but nothing was helping. I kept replaying every word she'd said to me, every little insult she threw my way. How could she say those things? What had happened to the sisterly bond we had once shared? Was this even my family anymore? Or had I been living in a fairy tale all along? Then, out of nowhere, I got a call. I didn't even have to look at the screen to know it was her. The way the phone buzzed was like the universe trying to warn me. I took a deep breath, feeling the heat rising in my chest. It was now or never. I had to answer. I couldn't avoid her forever. "Hello?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady, but I could hear the trembling under it. How could I not be shaken? This was my family, my life. Why was she doing this? "Hey," she said, her voice far too calm for the storm I was feeling inside. "We need to talk." Talk? Talk! My mind exploded. After everything she had said and done, she just wanted to talk. I could feel the anger rising again, but I forced myself to stay composed. I couldn't let her win with the drama she was creating. "About what?" I spat, my voice sharp and cutting through the air. "What exactly is there to talk about? You've already made your feelings clear." My heartbeat was pounding in my ears. Why was she even bothering to call me? Was she trying to manipulate me more? Was she going to act all sweet and innocent now after everything? "I know you're upset, okay? But please, just let me explain." "I didn't mean for things to get this out of hand," she said, her voice softening in a way that made me want to scream. She had the audacity to act like I was the one who had overreacted. "Explain!" "Oh, now you want to explain. How about explaining how you made me feel like I was worthless, like my family didn't matter? How about explaining why you thought it was okay to tear me down to my husband like that? Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'll just forget about all the things you said to me?" I shouted, my hands shaking from the overwhelming wave of emotion crashing over me. I didn't know if I was more furious or heartbroken. This wasn't just a disagreement, it felt like betrayal. Like she had pulled the rug out from under me, and now, she wanted me to be okay with it. How dare she? I didn't mean it like that, okay? I was frustrated. I've been under a lot of pressure too, and she kept talking, but I couldn't even hear her words anymore. I was so angry, I could barely focus. The lies, the manipulation, the gaslighting, it was too much. How could I possibly believe anything she said now? "No!" I interrupted her, my voice cracking with a mix of exhaustion and fury. "No more excuses. Do you even understand how much damage you've done? How much you've hurt me? I can't just forgive you like nothing happened. This is not something I can just let go. My trust in you is shattered." My chest felt tight, like the weight of all this was crushing me. I had never imagined things would come to this. How could she look at me and think everything was okay when she had just torn my world apart? There was a long silence on the other end of the phone, and I could almost hear her processing what I had said. Then, she spoke again, and her voice sounded different, quieter, more vulnerable. I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear, I didn't. But, you have to understand that I've been feeling like I'm invisible, like I don't matter. And maybe I took it out on you in the wrong way, but I didn't know how else to get your attention. My mind went numb. What? She was blaming me now. How could she even say that? All this time, she had made me feel like I was the villain, like I was the one who had wronged her. And now, she was trying to justify her actions by telling me she was hurting too. Was she really going to go there?